Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Now today we're going to be doing mapping again because I absolutely love doing this. Because I love you guys. Anyways, let's begin. So the first thing that we see that happens is, well, these two hate each other. So we see the Grand Columbia. I actually got Columbia's borders this time. Versus the Confederate Grand Columbia declaring war on them. So they slowly move up till the Confederation calls their two big allies. Now they could probably get them to agree to protect them. That's the Confederation Republic of Mexico, because it was USA until then. Yeah. And then we have the USA and Empire. USA and Empire. I don't know anymore. Anyways, we have them two helping them, well, versus. But he calls that his allies, which is the Brazilian Empire and the Southern African Empire. So this is a big war. Big war. So then all these troops finally get there after they move up a little bit more. The first order of business is that they push back over here, trying to disconnect them from this area, which is pretty important because there's a lot of troops there. But while they're doing that, they're pushing up here and disconnected them there, taking all these troops, and they surrendered to this side, meaning that that's a lot of manpower pushing them. Then United States troops have just got into the country and are now slowly moving, while the Brazilians are enforcing in. Finally, the Brazilians and the USAans, the USAs meet here and here, and then they all spread their armies across there. And then we firstly see them going up here, and like them getting pushed back as they only have their big ally there. So they push it back a little bit until more Brazilian forces get there and push up forwards super quickly. But then we have black forces halfway in the Mediterranean. Oh, no, this is the Mediterranean. Halfway in the Atlantic Ocean and going like this. So yeah, they're really close on attacking here. So then we have them pushing over here some more. But then as a lot more troops flood in, they kind of push back a lot of Brazilian forces, and a lot retreat down to Panama, where the original borders was. But they did leave some troops to fend off for a while. Then that's where the stalemate makes, because they had to move some troops because black has made it onto the platform, and well, black, I would say, is one of the biggest countries. And in real life, it's actually bigger than Russia, but in this scenario, Russia's bigger, so I don't know if it would be bigger. So yeah, so they make it there, and just start slowly attacking. And Canada and every else big ally decided to stay neutral. So they push down, so a lot of troops move up here, and then a lot more troops go back up there and start pushing back. Now, they have an advantage as all of 3 allies are in this respective area, where these 3 allies are here. So the black could make a landing there, and even Brazil could make a landing over there if it wanted to. So that's exactly what Brazil does. So yeah, it's kind of like, yeah. So they cut them off from there, and yeah, it's not really looking that just too good. So these 3 make a peace treaty quickly, and it's called the 3 alliance, the attack on alliance. No, the peace treaty of hold on. Peace treaty of enemies. Yes. yes. So yeah, so that means these 2 are now friends again. I mean, they were never, actually they were enemies, then they were friends, and then they weren't friends. So yeah, then we have them pushing up quite quickly. There's a lot of troops on here. They're looking like how the Spanish pushed up. A lot of troops are here making the stalemate, and even some troops pushing back into Ohio and splitting this part of the country in 2, but then getting their butts absolutely kicked. So they try again. So they try again, and they push down here. It works, and then the stalemate makes is there's not a lot of black troops and not a lot of them troops, so now they can move troops back down here. But so far, as the troops haven't made it, they can push up, nearly capturing this whole country. Then troops finally get there, and it's like an extremely big fight. So they push them back down, trying to push them back to the original border, and they eventually do so, which is nice. Well, over here they do so. Not really anywhere else, but they do be able to push them back to the border here. And like, it's just like a big mess. Now, as the troops don't have access over here, they're like in a big front line. That gives them able to push up into the and destroy them simply. And as Brazilian forces kind of give it more power, so it can do it. So yeah. So yeah, they push like this, and then eventually they capture here. And because they don't really touch borders with the enemies, they can't really do anything. But as Florida's not really that protected, and there's like mostly troops trying to protect this border, as the orange did give it some land, trying to protect this border here. They decide, you know what, this is smart. So Brazil lets them go up here and then send a boat, quickly grabbing here, splitting these off. These are big army groups, by the way, big. And pushing up into these countries with the help of blacks moving in, and a lot of greens and oranges in a big defense line here. There's not really a peace treaty, but yeah, this is really what's happening. They're just fighting. So this mountains protect them, and Alaska's up here. That's a lot of land which can protect them, and a lot of more access to the Mediterranean. So they cut them off from there, and like they're kind of screwed. Except that these oranges actually had a lot of troops because they were prepared for this, and like nearly all the troops are there now, so they were actually prepared for this. Shut your bean chings, bean chings, bean 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 chings. So they push back over here. That gives yellow enough time to fight back too. So now they don't have access here, but a lot of troops are there. So they stay on. So black does a little bit of pushing to get their attention away. But as a lot of troops are focusing on this front line, Brazil is smiling and smirking as they can just move up from here and secretly catch their capital. By the way, their capital's around here somewhere, so they haven't really been touched. So they don't realize that they kind of own all of Mexico now. The rainforest does. Yeah, I called him the rainforest. So that's a bit of the outside capital captured. So as these were falling, there was a lot of rebels here saying, "Bring back the Confederation." So they all remove a lot of their troops there to like look like this as they got too close. So now they're able to move back down, and yellow is actually able to push over here and push over here, and nearly pushing them fully out of north. Oh, trust me, wait, they're not the same country. Wait. I need to sort this problem out. Wait, I'll change the colour after the fight, because it looks like Canada joined them. Alright, they cut them off then. That's the only logical solution. But just because we're being theoretically, they would get pushed out immediately, but then the blacks would use a lot of its army. As well, back home, everyone is afraid of it, so they're all its friends. But over here, it's slightly a harder challenge. I mean, it's just a harder challenge, total. So yeah, now it's a big fight, and because these borders are like fighting here, now Orange Man can keep his eye on the rainforest. Yeah, I'm calling them rainforest. So now these two can have a big fight, as the USA pulled it with a lot of troops to sustain itself for at least 7 years, if that fight was still going on then, of course. I haven't really seen any advancements into their land. So yeah, the orange pushed down here, nearly kicking the Brazilians out, but eventually they get all their stuff together, and this bit is actually pretty important, and stalemate them. So they're like, okay, you know what about we just So they start to push through and reform the Confederation Republic of Central America. So yeah, these guys are pushing through over here. Not what is happening over here is it's a stalemate, except oh no, they broke the stalemate. And because they actually moved every troop somehow across there into that. But Black does this to say, hey, you might want to stop that. So then, because they kind of already removed their troops, because this tower is not really that useful, except for water here, but they don't need water in this scenario, because there's not really any states, like, that's Black near it. Like, that'd be Ohio, that's it. So, yeah. So now they're stalemated, like, really, really big stalemate. Down here, we have them slowly pushing back Grand Columbia. So Grand Columbia has organized a lot of troops. Like, a lot. So now they're kind of, like, very slowly pushing down here. So now that it's their land. And Brazil is now scared because now we're in danger. Even though they have a lot of troops too. Wait, who did I say had a lot of troops before Brazil? I forgot. Anyways, let's go on. They push back here, and Gran Colombia's capital is like around this area. I think its capital's actually here, like right there. So because there's mountains, they kind of slow. They do have mountains here, but they're not. They're there. Them stairs. So there's here. Let's here. We can have here instead. All of this, they have trained to climb mountains. So it's actually pretty quick. Quicker than expected. So now they can push down into there. So orange, as these are its oceans. But what about me? Orange does a naval ship so it can get a landing there. So yeah, it's got a landing in Brazil now. And eventually, after some time, they finally break the stalemate. And as they're using most of its troops as how safe they are, their idea is to push out them fully. And that plan works. So now it's kind of a 2v3. But it's kind of 2v2. It's not really that strong of a country. But then, as Brazil declares this as oceans and as Black declares this, and Nigeria declares this as its friend, it can swim across the ocean. But there's one problem. Argentina claims this. Actually, wait a second, because the UK owns them islands, they can only claim this actually claims this is the only lock. Long coastline. So they go down and they scurry across Antarctica, and they eventually get near Orange Man as they take over the island. Now they claim this. That doesn't interfere. Because Orange claims this. Doesn't interfere with anyone. So yeah, they push back. Hold on, I just need it. I think Toby's still. I don't know at this point. Anyways, I'm probably gonna be logged out. Anyways, they push back here, TNT. So yeah, that happens. But Brazil moved a lot of its troops. And they were ready for this. Brazil, as they have a lot of its enemies up north, and a lot of its friends down south, they have only here to be exact. This is the most nuclear part of Brazil. Only here. Only here. Here. They have 724 nukes here, and because they moved them, all these nukes and everything there, and all the crops, they now officially have 3,400 nukes here. So over here, they now used to have 400 nukes. Lastly, 3,800 it would be. But now they moved it to 4,700. Now it's 4,700 for both. Now here. Null of nukes, 53. But it changed it to a wowly 5,000. Now they have 5,000 nukes. Do you know what they use for 500 nukes? Pew! Pew! Nearly causing a nuclear war. Well, they kind of nuked a country. As now they have fully weakened USA, and like USA is extremely weak. It's extremely weaker than them. Now. So yeah, they use their nukes, a lot of their nukes. So now They have used a lot of nukes. They have also a lot. They used and accidentally infected them, so gave them this. So they deserve this. So yeah, they didn't nuke this whole country, but they nuked most of it. They nuked about half the Confederation Republic. Well, a lot more than half, I guess. That also gave them the opportunity for Black to get back on here. To get back on the continent. But they kind of they were very coastal about it. They wanted the coast if the war ends. As they kind of forced the southern hemisphere that doesn't have this massive coast. So that gave Brazil also all of this. As Brazil kind of went a lot more in a land than them. Maybe not. Maybe not less in a land. So now, because of that massive nukes, USA surrenders. And that is a big hit. Is now they donate all of their land over here to this guy. Just to think, just because Gran Colombia wanted this, only because the Confederation Republic of Central America wanted to win. They have to lose their life. But there was one person that didn't surrender. So first we have them making a landing here though. As this is kind of the whole group, and because Black needed to touch borders, they invaded a bit of USA. So they touched over here, trying to get access to this ocean again. As they kind of just want the oceans. But they were stopped. And green quickly moved in. They were stopped there. But then purple moved in again, and they weren't stopped. And black gave them that. And then black took over the country. So it seems like both the countries were annexed. It was just USA doing the smart move. It was just USA. Like that. I thought USA was dumb. I think everybody thought USA was dumb, Archie. True. Anyways, we have some crucial faces being wiped off the earth. So the first thing we can see is how Grand Colombia kind of took over everything here. The next thing we need to know is how Black owns everything here. Then the next thing we need to know is how Brazil took all of this. And we have to know how USA is still somehow alive. But, they do not have access to 2 oceans though, sadly. They only have access to 1. But they're still huge, they're still pretty big. So, but actually, they wanted to change that. So, as Brazil did most of the fights, it took most of the land. But Black did do a lot of fighting over here in the Southern Hemisphere. And having to move from here. Bet you if they were like there, they could have really took a lot of the USA. Like, they could probably be owning these states right now. But no, just because they sadly got into the Southern Hemisphere meant they got no states. Until we finally realized that now they can own that, and green is nice, as green's pretty massive, and gave the Confederation Grand Colombia, all of Mexico, and to connect. Actually, no, they didn't. They gave it a lot of Mexico. Mexico will always be divided. Yeah. And Black actually owns this. So now that kind of gives them all of this. Now you're probably thinking, what about these? Now in this timeline, big ocean comes. They actually all sunk to the ocean. Except for Cuba. Now, Cuba being smart. Okay, no, I'm not even gonna make. Alright, so, that was a pretty big water, you think? But the next thing we're gonna have to know is how, well, USA's old capital was here, Washington DC, but that got destroyed. So, because it did actually change into Washington, actually, and it stayed here for the past fight. Every single fight's been here. Except for, when it was the attack though, it was Alaska's that didn't get hit. So yeah, at least the capital wasn't taken. So guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe and peace.